Alright everybody, it's Travis with Vanden Yeager's House, and we're going to be continuing on our online learning training series in our Philosophy Foundational Training. I've already talked about our golden rules, our four phases of learning, but now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of why I do what I do, and that's through operant conditioning. Operant conditioning was really kind of thought of in the 1800s and 1900s by Edward Thorndike, but it wasn't until B.F. Skinner got a hold of it and became the father of operant conditioning that we started incorporating it into actual behavior modification. And that's what operant conditioning is. It's the scientific methods of how to modify behavior on all living creatures. Now, the four quadrants are kind of broken up into positive and negatives. A lot of people get confused and think positive means a positive feeling, or negative means a negative feeling. Now remember, this is a scientific equation. Positive simply means adding. Negative means removing. It's that simple. Then they were broken down into reinforcement. Reinforcement means that we are adding something or subtracting something to the equation to create behavior. So reinforcement means creating behavior. That leads to punishment. Punishment is something to stop behavior. We are adding something or subtracting something to stop an unwanted behavior. So the four quadrants are broken down to positive reinforcement, meaning we are adding something to create a behavior. Negative reinforcement, we are removing something to create a behavior. Positive punishment, we are adding something to stop a behavior. And negative punishment, we are removing something to stop a behavior. So now effectively we have the four quadrants of operant conditioning. Now, there are clicker trainers. A lot of dog trainers understand what clicker training is. They use these two quadrants, positive reinforcement and negative punishment. What this means is they have a treat. They give the dog the treat in reward for sitting. If the dog does not sit, they withhold the treat until the dog sits. So they say sit, the dog sits. They give the dog the treat by positively reinforcing that behavior. If the dog does not sit, they withhold the treat as a form of punishment. So they are adding the reward to reinforce the sitting behavior, or they are removing the reward to stop the disobedience. Now, there are people out there who use e-collars and prong collars. They use primarily these two quadrants, negative reinforcement and positive punishment. They will put on the e-collar on a very low stimulus, to where it's just slightly uncomfortable for the dog. They will turn it on and they will say sit. And they leave it on until the dog sits. Once the dog sits, they remove that pressure. They are removing that pressure to reinforce the sit. Or they can say sit. The dog doesn't sit. They add the punishment until the dog sits because they are punishing the dog for not obeying. So they are adding the electric stimulus as a form of punishment to stop disobedience, or they are removing the pressure as a reinforcement for the sit. Now there's a great debate out there. A lot of clicker trainers will go completely against the positive punishment movement. They will say it's torture and things like this. The people who use adversive training, such as prong collar and e-collar, they will often bash the clicker trainers, calling it bribing and things like that. What they fail to understand is every trainer that uses these methods, one side or the other, is using operant conditioning. They are all using scientifically proven methods of training. I like to use all four quadrants in a fair and respectable manner to create the behaviors that I want. I believe that if people spent more time focusing on their dogs to create a happy and well-mannered dog, then we could do this a lot easier. But more people are more focused on putting down other people than they are on their own dogs. So I believe we should put more time into our own dogs, stop worrying about what other people are doing so much, and just focus on creating a well-mannered, healthy, happy, obedient dog. If we can do that, then we will save more lives. The more better trained dogs are, the less dogs will be in the shelter. The less dogs will be put down to sleep. So that's what I am doing with this program. I'm giving you the ideas and methods that I use. And if at any point you kind of don't agree with any of these methods, that's fine. Find an alternative method and add that to your plan. So continue on with these videos, watch them in their entirety, create a plan that you feel comfortable with for you and your dogs, and go from there. It's that simple to create a smart, healthy, and happy dog.